and John become fast and immediate friends. I spent my senior high school trip hanging out in John Panazzo's penthouse and going to see Styx, sitting on the cooler next to John's drum set.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Good for Business podcast. My guest today is one of the continuous legends of the Columbus community, Chris Jenkins, photographer extraordinaire and longtime photographer at the Mississippi University for Women. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Colin.
We're going to go into your origin story and all that, but tell everybody what you do on a daily basis other than own a nice camera.
So what I do on a daily basis is I do all of the photography and video production for the Mississippi University for Women. I work in the University Relations Office. We do all the social media for the university, the advertising, just to get the good word out about the university.
And when we say all, we mean all. Like sometimes you're texting out pictures of sports and soccer and stuff and symphonies and promotions and hirings and not firings, but hirings and retirements and what's to eat for lunch and everything. Is that correct?
Everything. You have to know how to shoot sports. You have to know how to shoot events. You have to shoot food, culinary, classroom settings, headshots for media stuff. You kind of have to do it all.
Well, let's talk about your origin story. Where were you born and raised and all?
I was born at Offutt Air Force Base in Omaha, Nebraska, when my dad was stationed there. But then we moved here when I was like one, so I don't have any memory of anything other than Columbus.
Yeah.
Grew up here, been here basically my whole life.
He came here because of the base?
Yeah, well, my mom is from here, and when Dad joined the Air Force, he came to Columbus for his training and met Mom, so they were kind of coming back to Columbus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was much more common, as I say, back in the day. I've been here a little over 20 years, and I think about 25, 30 years ago, I used to hear a lot of stories about, I married a girl from Columbus. Or
That's
whatever.
right.
I tell you what, when they've ratcheted down these pilots over the last 20 years, they're not out drinking. So, like, if you're a single woman, you really could be at Munson Brothers on Friday or Saturday night.
That's right.
That's about your only chance to land a pilot from the Air Force Base, and then you get to go to 21 different cities over the next 20 years of your life. So where'd you go to school here?
I went to high school at Caldwell when they had two high schools, Caldwell and Lehigh. It's now Columbus High. And then went to EMCC and got an electronics degree after that and started working at the W like 2 months after I graduated from EMCC.
Did you have any jobs when you were in high school or anything?
Yeah, let's see. My first job, I worked at Kmart. It was terrible.
I worked at Kmart. I was a greeter and worked in the lawn care spot.
Retail is awful. I feel sorry for anyone who works retail. And then I worked a little stint at Harco Drugs, another retail job. And then I painted some houses for a guy named Bill Culberson here for several years while I was in school. And then got my first big boy job at the W, and I've been there ever since. I'm in my 33rd year now.
So you worked at the radio station first?
I did. I was a volunteer DJ at the radio station.
And your son has followed in your footsteps he did when he was in college, right?
He is. He is the station manager at Radio UTD. He's at UT Dallas. He graduates in May. So he's worked at that station all 4 years, and he is actually the station manager this year.
Which is a good place to be, because as AI and streamlining comes off, some of those stations are gonna have 3 salespeople and then 2 other employees. So
That's
at least
right.
he's good to be at the top as that happens.
That's right.
There's still a value in it, still, especially integrating all the local information and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
I'm a big fan of 91.1 over there at Mississippi State. It keeps me in touch with the kids and their music.
That's right. That's right.
So what were you doing? How long were you at the radio station there?
So I started there in 91 doing a volunteer show. So I did that show for a year, and it just so happened as I was finishing my electronics degree, the station engineer at WMUW left, and that job was open, and I applied. And
so this was 91, 92?
This was 92 when I started, August of 92.
I'd probably say 88 or 89 is the peak of college radio. I don't know about the peak, but it was powerful. REM, everything blowing. REM's sort of the definition, I'm 50, so of my generation of like, they were a college band that got big, and then Widespread Panic and all these other places. But you were right. I mean, talk about it being I know the W's not that huge, but when I've looked back at some of your pictures of Panic and Jason Isbell or Drive-By Truckers playing, I was like now you'd be impressed if a band starting played at Mississippi State, and I know I'm going to get in trouble with Mississippi State people. even since I've been here, they do a worse and worse job of getting music to come play at Mississippi State. Like when I came here, there were 4 or 5 concerts a year, and I don't even think they try now.
You don't see much anymore over there. It's really sad.
Like I went up into the Avent Brothers in Oxford, and they weren't that many college kids there. It was mostly adults. I realized how old I am.
Right.
When I was like, this crowd's 90% of my adults, and my daughter's like, yeah, kids don't care about that. Avent Brothers.
Yeah, you got to go to Proud Larry's with all the kids.
Yeah, that's what the kids are listening to. So what were you spinning when you were back there?
I was playing classic rock then. About that same time as when I really got into the Grateful Dead. And Widespread Panic followed very shortly after that, and I got into the whole jam band scene.
Yeah, because Widespread Panic, 91, 92, traveling outside of Athens.
88 is when the first album came out. But 92.
I think they had a pretty big blow up because that famous rooftop thing on CNN, I think, was like 94 or something. And then remember during COVID, I posted a ticket stub from 91. And they played or 91 or 92, and they played the UNO Lakefront Arena, which is an arena. So they were getting there.
They got to play in big arenas pretty quickly in about 5 years after their first album came out.
That's pretty huge.
Which was 88, yeah.
And so that's what you were spinning, and that was what you were into also?
It was, and it was just cool hanging out around the radio station at that time because the early 90s, I mean, these Nirvana, Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, all these 90s grunge bands were coming out all at the same time.
And you were also, I was interning in a radio station from 91 and 92 in New Orleans, WRNO, and you were getting physical, like, it was 45s, and then it was sometimes you were getting DVDs and stuff. I mean, not DVDs, CDs. I remember the first CD, I think would have been 91 or 92, but like, we got Use Your Illusion. Like, everybody at the station got it because they wanted you to play it.
Yeah, the music director would get all these discs in, and in fact, I remember a funny story. Right before I started working, I was still a volunteer DJ, but we got the CD in, and we opened up the cover, and the band has autographed it, and we all joked like, nobody knows that. Why are you autographing this? It was Pearl Jam.
Oh.
I don't know who got that CD
you could probably retire
what happened to it,
yeah.
but it was the fold out with the band and all of their.
I showed my kids the other day. I have both of. So Rage Against the Machine didn't have a video, but they toured the year before Lollapalooza, and my friend was just onto them, and so I signed up for their dang fan club. So I have both of their first singles on 45s.
Oh, that's cool.
They only issued 500 of them, and I'm like, oh, I didn't look. I looked it up, and I'm like, I was showing it to my kid, and like it pulled up on like eBay, and I'm like, give me that $300 record back.
Right, don't get fingerprints on it.
Yeah, don't touch it. I've never played it, so I was like, that's kind of cool. But that was back when you'd write in to become a fan club member,
Right. Oh yeah.
How long were you doing the radio part of it?
I did it a year volunteer before I started working. Then after I started working there, I did it for another 6 months or so, just when I had time. I really miss it. It was a lot of fun. It was like I had a 2-hour show. 88.5 at the W is just pretty free reign. As long as it doesn't have profanity, you could play whatever you wanted. So I had a box of CDs that I would bring from home and just play stuff for my show every week. It was a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool. Now, so how do the next job is photographer?
No. So when I started in 92, I was with the radio station. I started in August. In October of that year, a tornado hit the campus, knocked the clock tower down.
Is this a straight line windstorm?
No, this was 92. This was October 92.
That's how people keep track around here.
Right,
straight line windstorm, circular windstorm, tornado.
So this one knocked the clock tower down. So my boss, her name is Betsy Jones, she hands me a video camera and said, go around campus and tape all this stuff for FEMA. It's like, okay. Never touched a video camera before in my life. So I went around, videoed all the footage for FEMA. And then after that point, people started contacting our office to video events because they knew we had a camera. So that's how I got into video, completely like Kramer, ass backwards, fall into luck, just not trying to at all. So I did the video thing in addition to my radio work as station manager. And then I moved over to continuing education. Actually, continuing ed took over the radio station, so I was still with them. But we had a distance learning network. We had a fiber optic network in 1992 that was the first of its kind in the country. It's Zoom now, but it was the W and 5 sites throughout the state were linked through fiber optic, so you could teach a class and see the students. And in 1992, that's crazy. That was big time. That was very futuristic. So I did that for a while. And then in 1998, Dr. Rent, who was the president here at the time, she knew I did video. So one Friday, the provost called me in. Keith Gaskin was the photographer. She was like, "Hey, Keith's leaving. Do you want to move to public affairs and take up photography?"
I saw a picture of that house I fixed on Military Road. Keith took the picture of it.
Yeah,
in 1996, 7.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah. So, and I did not like my job at the time. I didn't like continuing ed. And
that's funny because I didn't think of Keith as a photographer either.
Yeah. And I said, yes, please. So that's how I got into photography, because Keith Gaskin left.
There you go. And so
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Did you learn by attrition or taking bad pictures like I did?
I learned just by my father. It's my ex-father-in-law now, but he was a photographer. And I did wedding videos, and we did a lot of weddings together where he'd do the photography and I did the video. So I learned a lot from him, and just kind of doing it.
No, that's how, we probably met, or our formative years from 2010 to 12 or 13 when I was at the Packet. Mm-hmm. And by default, this was right when YouTube was kind of getting rolling. I mean, I know YouTube started earlier than this, but where I could do that and at least learn the basics of my 6 megapixel camera. But I was also probably taking 3,000 or 4,000 pictures a week, because I would take 100 at a car wreck and 200 at a shooting, and just learning. Plus, I was taking a lot of them at night. And I know you and I, that's where we first started running into each other.
Yep.
That's where our joke, which goes, nice camera. Whenever I reference that, we say, Chris and I say a lot of stuff online, like, nice this, nice that. And it's always a reference to, they must have had a nice camera.
Yeah, and people look at my picture and not go, wow, you're a great photographer. It's like, wow, you must have a really nice camera. That's like looking at...
that's died down with the phone, because there's such a margin of error on the phone things, but there's still you got to get it when the person's smiling or laughing or get that moment. And I still don't understand how everybody can't do that. Because once you've done thousands and thousands, you're just like, how are you not... I mean, you're in the millions, I'm sure.
Second nature now.
Yeah. And when to, while they're going.
Right.
And get in there.
It's tough to photograph people while they're speaking at a podium, because they're always making funny faces. You always catch the wrong moment.
The B-roll of all that is always great. Right. Where I'm like, I was telling the last people that we have, Tanya Dukes, who's a local life coach, business coach, and I think she's in her late 50s or 60s, but she came in here and she was energetic and wonderful, and I took 30 pictures, tried to be clandestine while she was doing it, and 90% of them are her going, why are you taking my picture? And I'm like, no, stop looking. And I want to get it. Stop looking at me. Now, I do that to you all the time when you're sneaking a picture of me, and I'm like, hey.
Right.
Hey, get it in there. What were the most memorable things you've taken pictures of at the W?
At the W, probably that music fest that was in 2004, and that was spelled MUWSIC. My old friend Joe Louder was over in Student Life, and he was a musician and heavily connected, and he brought Galactic, Drive-By Truckers, Petey Pablo. It was 5 or 6 bands. I can't remember.
There's one show?
Yeah, one show. And
what year was this?
2004.
Galactic was huge by then. I mean, they're huge now.
Yeah.
So, my buddy grew up with Stanton Moore, and he knew everybody in the band, and they kind of had a comeback to New Orleans tour in 98 or so, where they really a lot of people thought they were from San Francisco, but they mostly built their roots in New Orleans, and now they own Tipitina's.
I didn't know that.
So my friend Greg was up in Atlanta working for this lady fixing a house, and she had a Hammond H3 organ.
Yeah.
And she's like, we got to get rid of this thing. And he's like, well, dude, my friends are coming back. They're in this band, but she goes, take it. And he's like, well, I got to get it shined up. And he came one day and it was gone. And he was heartbroken. He called me, which back in the day was he had to be home. I had to be home.
Right.
He's like, dude, and then the next day, my dad's like, your friend called from Atlanta. I'm like, it took me 2 days to get him, of course, because and then I get him. He's like, dude, she had it restored. And so he drove it down, and at their big comeback show at Tipitina's, I sat outside on the tailgate, and they played their first set, and they came out, and he gave his friend the organ. They recorded their next 3 albums on it. I'm thinking of this perfect kismet of a gift, but I didn't realize how big they were, and that was 98. And then since then, they're just... I remember I came up here and told Steve-O, I was like, yeah, I got to find it, but I used to hang out with Stanton Moore, and Steve-O was Steve-O from Zachary's, and now we're Stephen Robinson. Steve-O. He was like, okay. And I'm like, no, you have to understand, I didn't even, until I told him that, I didn't think anybody thought they were that big, you know? And he's like, okay. I'm like, no, it's same age. He skateboarded with my friend, but he's like, all right. And I'm like, I was like, nah.
That's cool.
And I think it's in that group of pictures that I posted during COVID, which was my ticket stubs from them and from Watch What Panic and them. And then I had pictures of me with George Clinton and stuff like that.
See the saxophone player? Stanton Moore.
Stanton Moore's more and more like drums.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and now they rotate singers and, everything. I just listen to whatever comes across Amazon Music for my thing. I could get on Spotify, but I don't know. Man,
Amazon
Music does.
I love Spotify.
I have it on my phone.
I've discovered more music in the last 5 years that I would have never heard. By the when you listen to Spotify, you can have it search for similar type music. Yeah. I've discovered so many artists that way that I never would have. You don't do that listening to the radio, so. Yeah, I love Spotify.
Sometimes it takes a lot for me to hear a song on, which is 91.1's the only one I'm listening to from Mississippi State, to hear something and go, I wonder who that is. I'm going to look it up. And the last time I thought about that is at least 10 years ago when I heard Nathaniel Ratcliffe and the Night Sweats. He had such a distinct voice.
Yeah.
And then it was funny because I saw somebody asked him like in an interview, they're like, why is it Nathaniel Ratcliffe and the Night Sweats or whatever? And he's like, I got a distinctive voice and I'm the talent. And he meant it like, and he was being, everybody laughed behind him. He's like, 3 of us grew up together and we've been a band forever. And he goes, I was 16. And they're like, we're naming it after you. So that way, if you leave, we still sell albums. I'm like, what a great comment. You know what I mean? Like they were like, it's clearly, sometimes you figure like, oh, this guy, Gladys Knight and the Pips or whatever, like is that ego? Is that the record company that named it this and that? Then a lot of times, until I heard that argument, they're like, well, if we ever break up or something happens, if he goes solo, we'll still sell albums because they'll be like, Nathaniel Ratcliffe. And they're like,
we're just the Night Sweats.
Or whatever. And
I bet they're fun to see live.
I haven't gotten to see him on the West because the only time I saw him was in Austin. I went there for a real estate taxation conference, which is the most nerdy thing you can do in the whole world. I was the only realtor there. Everybody else was CPAs. And 2 days before I went, they're like, man, Ratcliffe and the Nightcliffs. And they were playing in a pretty big place in Austin. It was like an amphitheater, but like a 3,000 person amphitheater. Dude, they just exactly what you hoped for, like 3 hours and just rocked it. Speaking of music again, I saw the Avent Brothers. They had Rick Rubin produced one of their albums about 7 years ago, and they kind of got a little bigger, Mm-hmm. And they started playing like hour and 20-minute shows, and the fans were like, "What happened to the 2.5 hour thing?" And when they played in Oxford a few months ago, I got to go, and they played the whole 2.5 hours.
Very cool.
Just killed, no opening band.
I got to photograph them when Tuscaloosa Amphitheater first opened. My friend Jeff Clark worked for the Dispatch, wrote an entertainment column, and he would take me to the shows, and I would do the photos, and he would,
Jeff took me to some shows there.
Man, I got to photograph them, B.B. King, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Widespread Panic, Neil Young, just
Jeff's taken me to, I haven't seen him in probably 5-6 years, but he took me to a couple shows down on the coast, like when Willie Nelson came, and we got to go see that. We didn't get to meet him, but the harmonica players were real good friends with Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff's friends with like half of the music business.
Yeah. Now, he kind of blew that off when I hired him at the Packet, and he was like, I toured with Blind Melon and Lou Reed and blah, blah, blah.
Candlebox.
I'm like, that's huge, And then he started the other people he knew, and he also knows how to call to get in. So I had a nice camera, but he's like, hey, man, why don't we go? We're going to go to a Journey REO Speedwagon or whatever the show that was playing at the amphitheater. And he's like, the guitar, Don Felder from the Eagles was going to be there with the Hotel California guitar. I was like, nice. Well, I'm not even an Eagles fan. Like, I don't hate them, but they were the
big double guitar. Yeah,
and I was like, it's not relative to me, but yes, I would love to go there and hold the guitar from.
Very cool.
And we played our card rights, and I took a picture, and then one of the Sticks used one of my photos that I took of them, where I got the front 3 guys, like perfect lighting and everything. They used it for their tour book, like their main 5 pictures. So yeah, they sent me an email, like you release it if you're taking it. But I was like, oh well, I'm an important photographer now.
I have a Stick story if you want to hear it.
Yeah,
my brother Kenny lived in Chicago back in the late '80s, and he walked in a bar one night to eat some supper, and he looked over and it's like, that looks like John and Chuck Panazzo from Stick. So he goes over to him and is like, are you guys John and Chuck Panazzo?
We get that a lot.
Him and John become fast and immediate friends. I spent my senior high school trip hanging out in John Panazzo's penthouse and going to see Sticks, sitting on the cooler next to John's drum set. And he was such a gracious guy. He passed away in '98, but he used to call the family on holidays. He'd call and wish me happy birthday, and just really, really nice guy.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, you always hear. And some of the guys we met that night, like between the bands, were a-holes, but Jeff is pretty much like, he's like, this guy's handshake, this guy's nod, this guy don't, he gives no autographs, nothing, like you're in the media when you're here. And Some of them, like, I'd be there and we'd be waiting for fans to come up, and they were the nicest guys. 2 guys from REO Speedwagon were just a-holes, but that's part of it too. I'm sure there was
Kevin Cronin there, or was this after him?
This was 2012.
I don't know when he left the band. I know they had a falling out, but
yeah, I don't follow the whole. There's very few bands that I know every single thing about. Like, I know everything about Aerosmith from inception to like 95, and then I lost track. You lose out on some bands, and
Speaking of Tuscaloosa Amphitheater, that's another place that doesn't book many shows. When they first opened, they were just, they had 15, 20 shows a year. Like I said, Neil Young, B.B. King, Avett Brothers. It was all like big name people. And
yeah,
I don't know if somebody.
I was surprised. Like the Avett Brothers didn't sell out at Oxford, but I thought all the kids would like it. I was like, it was mostly adults. Like mostly adults from Oxford. I was like, I guess
they're really
dated.
Good. They're really good live.
Yeah, they're so tight. They were amazing.
Yep.
They were out in the crowd, and like I said, if I almost wasn't going to go, and I was looking it up, and then I saw the interview where they were both like, we didn't lose focus, but we had a tour manager, and we had this that we really need to stick to our roots in the Southeast, and
right.
Because they would go in other parts of the country where it wouldn't sell out, and then they play 2.5 hours, and they honestly didn't feel appreciated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're playing older songs, and people are like,
Are they from Atlanta? Where are they
from? I think Charlotte or Charlottesville, North or South Carolina. Okay. I know their New Year's Eve show was always in Charlotte, so I assume they're from somewhere around there.
Cool.
I forget there's a documentary that said where they lived, but I'm not that interested. So I just like their music.
Right.
But same thing. You know what happened? This is weird about. I was talking to Braden Sansing, the engineer kid, about how you get into music or where you hear that one song or whatever.
Right.
I bought a car from a guy in Oxford when I lived down here, drove up to get it. And when I got the car, he's like, listen, the reason I got a deal in the car, this. There's a CD, there's 3 CDs stuck in the CD player. You're not going to get them out. And one of them was a Jason Isbell, this was like 2012. So he just left the Truckers or whatever. And then the other was his mixtape on a CD of the Avett Brothers. And it was some live stuff or whatever. And so like, it was funny because I finally found the live ones he got it off of. And now I'm like, but they were stuck in my car. So like, that's all I could listen to. There was no Bluetooth. And I'm like, well, I'm going to get into
That's right.
And I figured out on my own that it was the Avett Brothers because like it was 2010. Like I didn't know who it was, and then like I listened to all the songs. And then one time he's like, thanks again, blah, blah, blah. This is my brother, Seth Avett. And I was like, who are these people? So I knew every word to every song. And then the Jason Isbell Southeastern album was in there. I made a comment on Twitter that he retweeted where I said, in all honesty, I thought Jason Isbell's album Southeastern was his greatest hits. And I was like, because it was so good, I was like, and I just never looked on Spotify or on Apple Music.
Right. He's very good.
What other big moments, non-musical, bad and good? Straight Line Windstorm at the W?
Man, so many storms. The tornado right after I first started. Tornado in 2002, and then the Straight Line Wind was in 2001, I believe. So those two were pretty close together. Just lots of course, the name change that keeps coming up.
Y'all had a name change attempt? I didn't hear anything about
tried a couple of times.
I've still got my hat from whatever it was 18 months ago or 2 years ago, whatever. It's 2 years now.
This month is 2 years. It was January 24.
I kept my hat and stuff.
Yep.
I don't know if you or Nika asked for the hat back, and I was like, keeping this, man.
Oh, yeah, I'm keeping mine, too.
Yeah, so at least that'll be shelved. That'll be shelved for a while.
That's right.
And do you do stuff for MSMS at all now, or is that completely
Not
separate?
really. They have a media guy there, so they kind of do their own thing.
So what about in your private life? Still doing weddings?
Still, not much anymore. There's a lot of competition now. There's like 20.
Part of that, honestly, is because of the cameras.
Yeah, there's like 20 photographers.
Well, in the late 90s, you were the only guy who had a video camera.
Yeah, I was the only wedding videographer for a long time.
Yeah, the videos were the problem, and then now you can get somebody, and his wife's got a cell phone or whatever.
Yep. That's right.
And they're not horrible, but people just don't understand.
No, they don't know what kind of work goes into it, and time and editing. That's why you have to charge what you do.
Yeah, and people are still charging it for the.
Yeah,
I've had a couple people who are like, I should have called a grown up or whatever. I'm like, and I've seen people there are people now that are just doing cell phones, like I don't know, gyroscope or whatever, they're just doing.
CBI does that.
Oh yeah,
the reporters will go out and they're shooting B-roll with a cell phone. I mean,
2 years ago when I asked them about that, they're like, yeah, we're not doing it that much. And now, like, because, like, I'm there, so I don't work there. So this morning I did my little show, but I'm like, I told them, like, I can do some of this stuff if you let me. And, like, the line is like, if I don't work there, you can't publish it. And if I work there, then I can't be goofy on my little TV show. Like, I can't dress up or, you know what I mean? You got to be professional.
Can't have both worlds.
Yeah, and I'm like, I'd rather be goofy on my show. And plus, I get, social media wise, it's so easy to put stuff out and get attention on my own. So I need to do more video. So, what kind of camera are you shooting with now?
I made the jump to Sony. I was a Canon user for 24 years, and we switched to mirrorless. And I'm all Sony now, and Sony just runs circles around the Canon 5D. It's better color, faster focus, higher quality.
Are you shooting video on that, or do you? Everything's done.
Everything's, which is great because back when I first started in the photography and video in '98, I had to carry a still camera and a video camera, and now since 2011, they're all in one DSLR. It's been great.
Yeah, when I was at the Packet from 2010 to 13 and a half or 14, depending on when you count, they were just getting to 9 and 10 megapixel stuff. We had a 6 megapixel Sony, and the only reason we kept that is because external flash was so good, like at night for our stuff.
Right.
Like incredible. Plus, it would. I mean, you better have some batteries with you, but you could take. You'd be about 3 seconds apart on pictures, so you could really get things done.
Yep.
Take care of business.
I remember my first digital camera we bought in 2000 at the W. I wrote down on paper what we were spending on film and processing. It was like $10,000 a year. And this new camera, it was like $3,000. It was 3.2 megapixels. You couldn't print anything bigger than about
that to
4x6.
Now that's like an out of focus cell phone picture now.
My Sony A7Rs are 50 megapixels. I mean, you could shoot billboard photos.
What a phone shoots now? I don't even know. I guess 20?
Yeah, 20, 30, somewhere around 30.
I can't imagine because we had to nail it with that digital 6 megapixel. It was a Sony, but like you had to nail it.
Oh yeah,
like you couldn't be like now, with the portrait mode on the cell phones and stuff. Like for most of the stuff, I'm like, that's great.
Yeah.
Plus, where it's going to, it's going on another phone. You're viewing it on a phone. A lot of times when I don't do much desktop work, but when I get to a desktop, I'm like, ugh. Anyway.
We don't even have a printer at work anymore. I used to have digital printers that we occasionally needed prints. Nobody asks for prints anymore, so everything is straight to digital media.
Yeah, you better hope you have it backed up. That's all. I have my stuff, photos of my kids, which are crossing 100,000 now. Photos that I have in my phone are triple backed up.
Yeah, I pay extra for Google storage.
Yeah, I pay like $30 a month for two different things. I'm not losing 100,000. I don't know what I'm gonna do with 100,000 photos, but like I'm sure I want them one day.
I have terabytes of storage, not gigabytes.
I have some jump drives from the Packet, but not much. I should have kept more stuff. But we were talking about Kingfisher, the piano player, and he played at Catfish Alley when he was 16. I think you took.
I got pictures of that too.
Yeah, so I have a picture of him when he's 14. So we went to the Ground Zero Blues Club because Ron Williams, who I brought back at the Packet to write columns, was friends with Phil Luckett, who owned Ground Zero. Right. And he brought us over there, and it was like, in hindsight, it was out of a movie. They're like, dude, there's this 14-year-old kid down the block you need to go see. So like we left his bar to go see him play. and I'm like, all right. So I have some pictures that are black and white pictures of him. I have a couple of them I found. And I was just like, all right. And then I saw your picture a couple of years later at Catfish Alley. I was like, oh shit.
Dude,
like,
he blew me away. He was 16 at the time.
And he's still like at 14, I was like, well, he's great, but I don't know, reference point. And now like he's playing, symphony, like huge halls in New York.
And touring the world. Yeah. He goes to Europe a lot. Germany. Well,
he's not a gimmick anymore either, and he's still good. Do you know what I mean? Like when you're 15 or 16, you can be like, well, he's getting this because he's 15 and good.
Right. No.
Well, then
no, he's legit good.
Yeah. Well, who else is like that? I'm trying to think. Is Billy Strings was really young when he kind of broke out?
He was. I didn't catch on to him until probably 2020, and he'd been around for a while before then.
Yeah, but you think of people like Dwayne Allman and these kids who are like, you're like, okay, that's why he's famous, and then like 20 years later, you're like, holy crap, they're good. Right. And I was talking to Braden here too, the difference between being a musician and being a performer.
Right.
Like people can go out there and like Dolly Parton might not be on time or on key anymore, but like there's a show.
Right.
And there's bands like that. Avenged Sevenfold's a good example of like a rock band with a good live show where they're performing and they're like Def Leppard's coming back now and they ain't running around the stage, but they can still, draw you in.
Yeah. Derek Trucks is another one.
Oh, yeah.
He was raised by the Allman Brothers, basically. And his brother, Dwayne, is Widespread Panic's drummer now. And Widespread Panic's guitar player, who sadly just had to leave the band for a cancer diagnosis, he is Dwayne's father-in-law. Dwayne's married to his daughter. So it's all in the Allman Brothers.
Well, it's sort of like... who did I see? Eddie Wolfgang Van Halen.
Yeah.
Where like 5 years ago, I was like, all right, fuck, I'm good. And then now I'm like, everybody's like, well, he's cool, but he's good. And like I heard Johnny Five and what's his name from the Foo Fighters being like, holy shit. They're like, but they said the same thing. Like when he was 15, he was good and maybe got more exposure than he should have. But then he went back and like, God, amazing.
Can you imagine trying to get out from under the shadow of Eddie Van Halen being your father?
Well, I think that's why, like, he embraced, like, he's kind of a big kid. Like, he still looks like a kid. He's
he does.
Chubby
He
kid.
does.
He doesn't look like his dad.
Does.
And I'm like, that's the pressure. I mean, I think it's this. You got to get, how you going to get past the greatest ever? But to hear other guitar players going, like, he's great. Like, he's not good. Whereas before they were like, it's cute. Same thing I think about Kingfisher. I'm like, well, maybe it's because it's a gimmick and you get it, but you ain't going to last that long in the business, doing it unless you're incredible.
That's right.
Because nobody cares, especially touring like right now, like nobody's going to go see you unless you're good. Or you're going to get these little bitty shows. I
mean, that's how Widespread Panic has made their career. You don't hear them on the radio. They have to tour. And they used to tour relentlessly.
Well, I remember in 2000, you probably took pictures there, 2 or 3 when they came to Jazz Fest. Like it was them and Fish.
2003, that was my first credential.
It came back to back, and last year it was them and Fish and back. It changed Jazz Fest.
I bet.
Jazz Fest was sort of thing, and I remember we were making fun of them for being gutter punks, but they were rich hippies.
All these hippies,
Rich hippies coming in. Compared to New Orleans, they were pretty wealthy, and we're like, I remember like we knew the music because I played hacky sax, so I know who they are. But I was like, dear Lord, baby, like they brought so much money to that time, changed Jazz Fest, and I knew people on the board at Jazz Fest and who were resistant to it. But ever since they came, like they're like, okay, we don't need just one big band, we need a genre bending band or somebody huge. And now like Bruce Springsteen and all this stuff. Usually they'd have like one each weekend, and now it's like, dude, the lineup this year is ridiculous.
Yep.
I just don't want to go because it's so uncomfortable. It's 100 degrees and you're nowhere near the show and stuff. So I'm old man.
Yeah, 2003 was my last Jazz Fest. I haven't been back since. It is it's my favorite music festival. I don't typically care for music festivals in general, but when you add the New Orleans food into it and the whole culture,
I think I could I could go now compared to 10 years ago, but before like I'd be like, there's too much music, it's overwhelming. Now I could be like, I'm just going to go see them. Right. My problem when I was younger was like, oh my God, Fats and Domino's here and they're there and Panic's here, and I'm like, I got to see them, and the fear of missing out. And now I'd be like, I'll pick the one show. Same reason somebody asked me why I didn't go to something. It was a drag show. Somebody like before COVID, my wife went to a drag show with some friends, and like one of them called me like, I'm a little disappointed you didn't support them. I'm like, oh, let me be real clear. If Dave Matthews was playing in Starkville last night at 10 o'clock, I wouldn't. I was like, I can name like 4 bands right now that if they're within like 100 miles, like Avent Brothers or and I've even missed it. I had to bail on Jason Isbell tickets a couple of years ago because I had stuff going on, like an old man. You know? I was like, because I'm not going to Birmingham and not staying in a hotel. I'm not driving back.
Grown folk stuff, yep.
Grown folk stuff. It's no fun being old. Mm-mm. So how much longer do you have? You can take pictures so you can't stand up or what?
Yeah.
How long have you been there total? 30?
33. I'm in my 34th year now. This August will mark 34 years. So I plan to go 6 more. At 40 years, you get your full salary retirement with the state of Mississippi. So I'll be 62. My house will be paid for. Right now, that's my plan. But it's a good feeling to know that I'm a bad day away from being like, see ya. I could retire today.
I remember having that, Joe McGowan, the artist and insectologist, as I call him. We were sitting there one day talking right at the beginning of COVID. We were outside at Zachary's, and it was closed, but he came to meet me, and I bought a painting from him. And he's like, yeah, man, I'm trying to figure out. And they kind of explained to me that if I retire, they'll rehire me back. And like 2 weeks later, he called me. He's like, this is so much better. Like he retired and they hired him back and he wasn't going to come back. And then he's like, now he's 7 years later and he's loving life because he's.
I think he has a lot of shirts out now. Like he's doing like
clothing. He was good. He got on national TV right after getting on this podcast. But yeah, he got on national TV when the NFL today or college football game day came.
Oh yeah, I saw.
And they interviewed him about that, and he was trying to make jokes, and he kept looking at the camera like he'd make a joke, and none of them got it. And he's like, "Which you don't think of him doing that, but he was so like almost like you and I would appreciate. Like he didn't give a shit that he was on TV. Yeah. He was really into the bugs, and then when they didn't get a joke, the bug joke, he'd be like complete. And his son's doing phenomenal too. Like his son, we talked to him about the mechanics of making money as an artist and that sort of thing. Like he's done good at this is my price, and which is hard in the photography world too.
Very hard.
Because like 10 years ago, if somebody told me $600 for a wedding, I'd be like, a little much. And now I'm like, I don't know if I'd leave the house for $400.
My deposit's more than $600.
Well, that's what I mean. Like it's a lot of time.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, and then it's a tough thing. So, do you do much freelance other than the weddings and stuff?
A couple
I don't know how you have time with everything.
Seniors here and there, family here and there. Not nearly as much as because, like I said, the market is just so oversaturated with photographers.
Try to be a graphic designer coming out soon. I know a lot of that.
They all come out and they undercut the people who have been doing it for 30 years and.
Yeah,
it is what it is.
Well, I've talked to Nathan Wilson about that and Karen Stanley. I don't know if Karen's a photographer. Nathan Wilson's an exceptional photographer, and he's a videographer, and he's world class. I mean, he does NASCAR trucks.
What can't Nathan Wilson do?
He's a director of Mississippi Wildlife and Fisheries right now. I don't know. Somebody asked me about a turkey call, and he's like, "I can teach people to make those." I'm like, "Dude, like," so he's incredible. His wife's incredible too. She's one of my top ranked backup wives if something happens to my wife or Nathan. So
right.
I don't know. I couldn't because she can hunt and do everything else.
That's right.
But that's what he's talking about. It's like, well, AI's taking some of it, but you still need to coordinate the stuff with the client. They don't know what they want. I know what they want. And then Karen Stanley said the same thing. It feeds into my theory of that the good graphic designers will still be fine. They do. I think more people over time will use an agency to take over like their marketing. I just can't still when people are like, yeah, it's $600 a month and I'll post your stuff on TikToks and all that. I'm like, I feel like I can do it. I just don't want to do it. I'd rather have somebody be like, hey, I want $12 an hour. So if any of you kids in MUW or Mississippi State are listening, if you'd like to be among the highest ranked old 50-year plus social media influencers in Columbus, Mississippi and want to make me even bigger, give me a call and I'll pay you hourly for your genius. My biggest challenge with that is when I've asked people, I'm like, well, where are you on social? And they're like, well, I don't do it. Or like my theory is if I'm going to pay somebody to do it, they probably should have more fans or followers. And you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
And it's tough. Most of the people who are getting paid to do it is to, do as I was a teacher. This is why I teach because I can't do,
right.
know? Like the guy
those who can't do teach.
Yeah, that's the same thing. So, which isn't true with photography.
No, it's not true.
It's not true with everything. But there's some things where I'm like, why don't you have more than 100 followers and you're selling me this package? So I'm old. Not quite as old as you, but you're young at heart. So
you're just a little bit behind me. I'll be the speed limit this year. Double nickel.
It's not too bad. So
nah,
you get
every day above ground's a good day.
If anybody wants to call you about weddings and stuff, how do they find you or email you, or what's the best way to track Christian?
I'm pretty easy to find on Facebook, and I'm pretty active on it. But my email is ctjpix@gmail.com.
P-I-C-P-I-X.
CTJPIX.
And if they want to see it at the W, just go anywhere and break a window and you'll show up.
I'm ever present.
There you go. Anything you want to tell the kids out there or anybody at the W that you love? What about your wife? What's your lovely wife doing these days?
She is a vet tech. She works at a vet surgery clinic in Tupelo. She was born to take care of animals, and she has a gift for it, and she's very good at it.
She can take a picture or two also, right?
She is a photography major, which is how we met. After she graduated, let me put that out there.
Let's keep this thing classy.
Right.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, she's a great photographer. She does a lot of she's really good at wildlife photography.
And about the kids and grandkids.
Got 2 kids. Got my daughter is a nurse at the oncology clinic here, and she is about to open up a bakery in Caledonia. She does the whole sourdough thing. She has 3 kids, so I have 3 grandkids.
It's Jennifer, right?
Yes, Jennifer. My oldest is in high school. Anderson's second grade, and Salem is 3. So kind of a wide range of ages there.
Much like myself, your kids are way, way smarter than you, right?
God, thank God.
Don't know where they go. I always say the UPS guy in our route must be brilliant. Or
Lord,
something.
I was an idiot when I was their age doing the great things they're doing.
Well, that's awesome. It's good to hear.
Yeah.
All right, brother. Well, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, Colin.
Hey guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. My name is Colin Krieger and my day job is real estate. If you're looking to buy or sell, I'd love to talk to you. Or if you just want to sit and talk real estate in a no pressure situation, I'd love to help you. I work with RE/MAX Partners in Starkville, Columbus, and West Point, Mississippi. I can help you find an agent anywhere in Mississippi or anywhere in the country. Just reach out to our office at 662-327-7705 or find me anywhere when you type in 662-329-SOLD.